excited to hopefully grow this thing into something that we can sustain success for a long time.
One final question for me. If there's one thing that you would say you look for with the tight ends week in, week out, whether it's preparation, hard work, what do you preach to these guys each week?
Man, I think it's physicality. I think that's if we hang our hat on physicality, showing up, obviously lining up, doing the right thing, being accountable to our team, that they know that when the tight ends are on the field, they're going to be in the right spot doing the right thing, but really setting the tone with our physicality and then letting everything else grow off of that. We're not worried about touches. We're not counting reps. We're not counting targets. We don't talk a lot about yards or anything like that. It's like, let's go in, let's impose our will physically, and then let's let everything else fall into place from there.
Hey, Coach, question about the versatility of your group. Obviously, a lot of different looks that some of the tight ends are getting today in practice and some other weeks across practice. What do you make about your group and how they've been able to kind of play different positions and do things that everything they need to do?
Yeah, I think number one, it's an unselfish group, so I think they're willing to do whatever they're asked to do. So, there's games like Mississippi State where we're going to run the ball and we're going to line up in 12 and 13 personnel and we're going to block our butt off all game. And then there's going to be other games like Texas State where Shamon's going to be able to flex out and do some different things. Harp running down the seam, and Keys had some opportunities where I think that's it. We just show up and do whatever it takes for the team to be successful. I think that's the tight end position as a whole, and that's what makes a great tight end, is the ability to affect the game in the run game and in the protections, but also to be able to flex out and create some matchup problems and take advantage of defenses that are loading the box, because we can run the ball with our tight end attached and in the core. So I think everything sets up, like I just mentioned, everything sets up off the physicality, and when you can do that, you make teams adjust. They can't stay in their nickel package all game long and defend our run, and when they get out of it, we can take advantage of it in the vertical passing game.
What do you make of the confidence of the team now? Obviously 3-0, big test against the first Big 12 opponent in the school's history. What do they make of this situation and where the team's at right now?
Yeah, I think our guys are excited. It's great to see buying into what we're building here and seeing the success. But you're not guaranteed anything. You got to keep showing up and working every day, day in and day out, to continue to sustain that success. So I think that's it right now, is going from really trying to transform the culture into a winning culture, into a team that steps out on the field on Saturdays and expects to win games, and knowing that to do that, you have to continue to put in the work and you have to continue to get better. You can't just get to a certain point and then rest on your laurels. You have to continue to grow. You have to continue to attack your weaknesses day in and day out. And I think right now we're doing that, and that's it. We just have to be able to sustain that. We talk about it mentally, physically, and emotionally. That's the toughness that we have to have, and we have to be able to sustain.
And you think the team's doing a good job of that, your players individually, of staying the course and grinding through everything?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think there's highs and lows. There's going to be games where you're featured and you get a chance to make a lot of plays. There's going to be games where your number's not called a lot, but you're impacting the game away from the ball. And I think so far they've done a good job with that. I've been really impressed. A guy like obviously Shamon's had a couple of games where he's had the opportunity to get the ball in his hands and make plays, but the games that he hasn't, he's never had a bad attitude on the sideline because he didn't get touches or anything like that. He's showing up. He's playing physical football. He's training. Cameron Harpole's the same way. Does a really good job with that. So we like our group. I think it's a balanced group. With Mark Easton and what he brings to the table, and we can get in and out. Like I said, we're in 11, we're in 12, we're in 13, we're in 23. We've been in 14 personnel with old Colson Arrows on the field too. So I think when you have every personnel group, when you're traveling 4 scholarship tight ends and you can get an 11, 12, 13, or 14, that tells you the tight ends are doing a good job and that Coach Arroyo has faith in them. So we're excited with that.
Yeah. So. Over the game, talking to some of the offensive linemen, they said there were some struggles with communication at the beginning of the game at Texas State, hearing each other. Had you talked to your players about that? Did you feel like that was an issue during the game at all, and that kind of affected how everything started?
I think communication, being an elite communicating team, is always a key to victory. And so, I think when you get against a team like that, that's getting into odd fronts, that's slanting, that's moving, that's bringing different looks, different pressures, you have to communicate at an elite level. And so I think as the game went on, that was the biggest thing, is just making sure that we were talking to each other, taking ownership. Somebody's got to take control of it and pass that communication down the line. And so sometimes the tight ends, because they're with the O-line sometimes and they're not with the O-line sometimes, is just making sure that we continue to grow that relationship and that communication piece on the field, so that we're communicating to them when we're with them and they're communicating back to us what they need us to do to help them.
What do you make of that resilience, that factor that you guys were able to pull out the win after being down 2 scores? This tight ends made some big plays throughout the course of the first and second half. They got you guys back into the game.
I think you just start seeing the difference between a losing culture and a winning culture, and I feel like we're starting to establish a winning culture. We're nowhere near where we want to be, but I think we have a team that, like Coach Dillingham said, we never flinched. We got down 2 scores in the first half. They had a lot of momentum. There was no finger pointing. There was no panic. There was, everybody stayed the course, and we just stayed with the game plan. And that's, to me, the sign of a winning culture. When I've been a part of, at the high school level, obviously, but teams that win at a high level are teams that stay together, they stay with the game plan, they know it's a long game, and they keep coming. They just keep coming, they keep coming. It's just the next play, the next play, the next play. And I thought we showed that in that game, and we saw the results. So hopefully that's something that we can continue to do, because we're going to continue to go through adversity during the season. It's just, you're not going to show up like the first couple weeks and jump up to big halftime leads and feel like you can coast. You're going to have to scrap and claw and fight if you want to win games and beat good teams, and we got a lot of good teams on our schedule the rest of the way.
Lastly, you've mentioned good teams on your schedule the rest of the way. Texas Tech, team that can really score the ball on offense. What have you seen from them and their defense in preparation for this upcoming game?
Yeah, I mean, defensively, they're big up front, and they do some good things. They'll bring some pressures, and I think we have to stick to our game plan. We have to be able to run the ball, and I think everything with this offense starts from our ability to run the football physically, then continue to do the things that we've done well, which is take the ball away and protect the football, not put the ball in jeopardy, and just go out there and compete, play to our standard, play to our level, and I think we've shown ourselves that if we do that, good things will happen.
All right. Thanks,
Thank
Coach.
you.